I'm Emily Specht, and I chose to do the set design for this project. And I used a shoebox for mine, and it's a proscenium theater, as you can tell. And I used popsicle sticks to develop that set. And I researched different ideas of Ybor City in 1929, and I noticed that there's a lot of high ceilings and arches in the architecture, and in many cases there's like semicircle windows to illuminate like natural light in factories. And then there's also a constant use of like the Y-shaped wooden beams for support. So in my set I have the windows, like I said, and then as far as color, Florida and Cuba are kind of tropical, so I used a lot of color, but also Pectins ran out of plain colored popsicle sticks, so I had to improvise. But I used the red for the tables and chairs of the workers, and also the desk in Santiago's office, which would be more like of a natural wood color. And then the blue in the arch windows, and there would be light illuminating from the back. And then this is like a platform for Juan Julian, and there's a ladder here you can walk up. And it's wooden just to show like a different depth in the scene of the audience. And the scene, or the set, is divided by like 3 different settings for the 3 different places that they have taken place. And first it would be like the dock, which would be over here on this little platform, and in this part the tables would be removed along with the benches for the workers, and there would be a backdrop of like an ocean scene, and the women would be standing on the dock, and then the men would be standing over here at the cockfight scene, kind of just separate, and the lights would focus down on them. And for the factory, the tables and benches would come back out, and no benches would be facing the audience, that way no one's back is turned. And then the Santiago's office is up here, and then for the last setting, it's Santiago and Ophelia's home, and there would be brought out a table and 2 chairs kind of back on the dock scene, and the backdrop would be removed. So as far as the lighting, at the beginning and the end of each scene, the light would go in and out just to signify different time change. And in the scene of Keshi and Marella, the scandal, the light would suddenly black out, like the script had read. And in the dock scene, I chose a yellow light tint for the outside, because they're all excited and happy for their new lector to come, and it's kind of like a exciting time. And in the home scene at Santiago and Ophelia's house, it would be tinted red as they begin to argue, and then go, as their mood lightened, it would also lighten into like a yellow color. And then in Act 2 Scene 1, it would be pink and rose tinted for the romance between Juan and Conchita. And then lastly, for lighting, in Act 2 Scene 4, it would start as yellow as Juan Julian is reading, and then as soon as he's shot, it would be focused in on the red color. So, in my research, I had mentioned that there would be tables in their house, and they would kind of look like that, like a wooden, just very simple. And then this is kind of what I thought of as the dock scene. And I mentioned the windows illuminating light, and I saw that a lot in the architecture. And this is like how Juan Julian's raised up, and then the like Y-shaped wooden beams that I mentioned earlier. And I also saw some similar setups for the Anna in the Tropics, other productions. So I took some of my ideas from these, like how the light is illuminating through. That's kind of what I meant from in my half circle writings. So also things that would be needed that I did some research on was the tools they would need to make the cigars themselves, and typical wooden tables that were like used as their work tables. And then also the cigar machine that they end up bringing out when they start using the machine, or they think about using machines. So as far as props, in Act 1, Scene 1, they'll need like rooster noises for the cockfight, and then, since you can't actually have roosters on stage. And then Santiago and Kechi will be, they're drinking and they're using the money to gamble, and then the knife when Santiago carves his name into Keshi's, or the debt into Keshi's shoe. And then the girls, it mentions that the girls are all holding handkerchiefs, and then Ophelia opens a letter with a picture, and then lastly Juan brings his books, and they're actually wrapped in a belt. And then scene 2 is just the tools they need in the factory, and then Juan's books, including Anna and Karenina. And then Act 2, scene 3, it's just the tools for the cigars and the book. And then the scene 4 is at their house, and I had mentioned that table and kitchen and chairs would be there. And then scene 5 is just Anna Karenina, the book, and the scissors they use to cut a piece of her hair. And then in Act 2, scene 1, they bring out the new cigar machine, and it'll be wrapped in a paper. Then the box for Morella's coat and her hat. And then the calendar that Kechi gets for Santiago from his office, and then it also mentions that there's a bag of cigars that Santiago holds. And Act 2, Scene 2 is just the factory, so the same things, and it also specifically mentions that Juan's sitting in a chair, so I put a chair on there. And then in Scene 3, it's the party, so they said that there were 2 bottles of rum and the glasses that they drink them out of. The cigar that they passed around and smoked, and then the decorations for the party. And then it also mentions that Kechi wipes his face with a handkerchief, and also Juan is also always holding his hand. Act 2, Scene 4 is also in the factory, and it mentions that Paul Amato in the very beginning is carrying in heavy boxes. Then of course the cigar tools, and Juan Julian's Anna Karenina, and the gun that is used to kill Juan. And then last scene is just the book that Paul Amato continues to read to the rest of the workers, and the tools that they are using to make cigars. So as a whole, the setup for my scene is visually pleasing to the audience, and it functions for the actors to walk around. And the lighting will develop the theme and mood of tradition and functionality or scandal. And the props will also obviously develop the play as a whole. Thanks for your attention.